Hello everyone, I am FIDE instructor and Arena International Master Rishikesh Chavan. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are having our GCA's thematic chess tournament and it is based on Sicilian defense. As you can see right now, we have around 40 students and there are more students expected to participate in the tournament. In just 3-4 minutes, the tournament will start. We have organizing this thematic tournament so that the students of the Gurukul Chess Academy will come to know about the different openings, different defenses, and that way we can give them more information when we analyze the games in their regular classes. So stay tuned with us, and hopefully there will be more mouth-watering and exciting games coming up. Tournament is starting in just few seconds. There are 6 rounds, and the time control is 10 plus 5. All the best, everyone. So the first round starts. Let's see the pairing. On the top board, Hercules is playing against Arjun Vasudev. Arjun is Arjun Singh. Then we have Omgada playing against Kavya. Then we have Inferno, that is Yash Sane playing against Advait Zog. Then player 20,006, it's Dakshil. Dakshil is playing against Arnav. Then we have Atharva, he is playing against Daivik. And then Mihir is playing against Gulnawaz. So right now there are 43 players participated in this event. We are in the first round of this GCA, the Sicilian Thematic Chess Tournament. Still 12 more games going on. Let's check the games. We'll start with this game between Kavya and Omgada. Kavya is white, Om is black. Okay, material is equal. So far, so good. There is that isolated pawn on d3, and Om is pressurizing that pawn. So soon he will be playing knight b4. So it's good for Kavya to give up this pawn, and instead of this pawn, he can start focusing on this c5 pawn. So that way, he can trade his weak pawn on d3 with this c5 pawn. But so far, so good. Kavya is playing very nicely. Apart from this backward pawn, all other pieces are fine. Though his position looks bit defensive, bit passive. Let's go back. Okay, let's check this game between Witness Shadow and Adish. Witness Shadow is Aditi, and she's playing against Adish. Okay, oh, Adish has lot of extra material. It looks like Aditi has lost lots of material. Mm, okay, again she lost a bishop. So still early days for Aditi. Let's move on to the next game. So this is Gulnawaz playing with white pieces against Mihir. Okay, yeah, right now Gulnawaz is exchange up, right? She is losing the exchange. There is a fork. Okay, so here black should capture the a1 rook so that this active rook will be forced to move on the a1 square, which is a passive square, and then again the rook will have to come out. So that way, white is losing a few moves, few temples. Pawn structure looks good. This is again there is a backward pawn in black's position on d6, and again the b7 pawn is isolated. Also, on this A and B file, white has pawn majority. So white should try to create a passer from A and B file, and it will be an outside passer. And as we have learned already, outside passer is stronger than center passer. So black can try and create a passer from the center files, and compared to that, this outside passer will be stronger, provided white takes good care of that passer. Let's move back in the lobby and check other games. Let's check this game. This is between Ahan Sareen and Sarah Mary Jacob. Ahan is white, Sarah is black. Right now, Sarah is pawn up. It looks like she has created a lot of weaknesses around white's king, but white uh, is defending his king in a better manner. Right now, black rooks are not active, they're not participating in the attack, and that is the reason black is not getting much success in pushing his attack home. Maybe here black can play bishop into knight, queen into bishop, and then rook e6 and rook h6. So black can use the rook lift in this position and try to create a mating net. Try to create a mating net on h file. I guess it's a mistake. Yeah, it was a mistake. Black should have played bishop into knight. Yes, and white made one more blunder. White is definitely going to lose the queen in this spin. So Sarah should win now. Sarah is a strong player. Just few days back, she won the seventh place in the very strong Maharashtra State under seven school chess championship. Six more games remaining. Okay, we have Sean playing against Cute Dolphin. Sean Biju against Adya Patil. Okay, Adya has a lot of extra material, and it looks like she has pinned or trapped Sean's king on the back rank. So she may try something like rook on b2 or c2, and then rook g1 will be a checkmate. Let's move to the lobby. Okay, let's check this game. Yash and Advait. Yash is white, Advait is black. Yeah, Advait is playing very nicely. Right now, material is equal, and Yash is in time trouble. That's strange. Normally, Yash plays pretty quickly. It, okay, I guess there is some network problem for Yash. Otherwise, moving the queen away was a pretty obvious move. Okay, he should have played this first, and then now we should try playing something like rook c1 and putting the rook on the seventh rank. Okay, Mir has promoted a queen and is about to promote the second queen. KK का वो Omgada is piece up. So again, Om should win pretty comfortably. So let's check this game between Yasha and Advait. This looks very exciting. Okay, the rook is under attack. It looks like white is about to get an exchange, but white should be careful because I guess black is waiting for bishop into rook. Then he will play rook into pawn check, and I guess no, there is no perpetual. Oh, there is no perpetual. You can simply capture this way. Even if after bishop into, oh, it simply missed a queen. What way should design now? Otherwise, should have waited for white to capture the rook, and then he should have sacrificed the rook over here. Even then, it wasn't a checkmate because this bishop can come back and block everything. Again, it's not a double attack either because rook is supporting the other rook. Poor Advait miscalculated horribly. Okay, Kaveh is still fighting hard, but Om is getting a queen, and he promoted the queen. And checkmate should follow very soon. Oh, he did capture the knight. So it likes it seems they like to play cat and mouse game, and it's made in mate. Yes. So all the games have completed of the first round, and second round will start very soon. Welcome back to the second round of this thematic chess tournament, which is based on Sicilian defense. Let's go through the games. This game between Sakshi and Shriram is going very nicely. Shriram has this outside passer, and Sakshi should play rook a2. Yes, that's correct. And now she can push the pawn ahead. Black should win over here if this endgame is played correctly. Pawn push was correct move. And now this king should stay away from this check. King should not come anywhere outside this pawn. Not even not here. Here it is fine, but definitely not here, or else there will be a check, and then pawn promotes. Here again, the rook a2 was better. Yeah, forced rook into pawn. Ouch! Black totally missed this queen, and that blunder will cause this game for Sakshi. Sriram is a lucky guy. Okay, let's go back. Then there is Aviva against Keshav. She's playing with white, and Keshav Joshi is black. Okay, okay, Aviva is piece up. And Keshav's king is stuck in the middle of the board. Keshav's position is very, you can say, kind of lost. Maybe thinking about moving the knight to b5. I guess that's the only way. No, he can even play knight c4. But I guess playing knight to b5 is better because after knight b5, later on he can play queen b7. After queen b7, if black plays rook b8, then queen c7 check. So there are a lot of complications there. Yeah, but I guess he missed this calculation. Let's go to lobby, check other games. 9 more games remaining. Okay, let's check this game between Sonia and Samiksha. Samiksha has two extra pawns, but this is opposite color bishop position. So if played correctly, then it may end in a draw. But right now it looks like white is getting this pawn. White should have captured this pawn over here so that white can have a pass pawn on this h file. Black is trying to create a passer on the other side of the board. Now white can play. Now black can play something like king h7 or king g7 and saving the pawn. Let's move back. Okay, let's check this. So Hercules is Omkar Shelar. Omkar is playing against Suyog. So it looks like Omkar had to sacrifice his queen for a rook and a bishop. And also there is a passer. So white has to worry about that passer. It looks difficult for white to coordinate his pieces well. He should have pushed the pawn ahead. Okay, let's go back. Let's see if we have any other interesting game going on. Let's check this game between Blade Strike. Blade Strike is Tanish. So Om is white, Tanish is black. Material is equal, and surprisingly, Om is low on time. Okay, there are a lot of threats coming up. First of all, sorry, is losing this bishop and losing this rook for a bishop. So there is a pressure on this f2 pawn, f7 pawn. Sorry. Uh, White's trouble is that his development is not complete yet. Bishop needs to come out, and again this rook on a1 doing nothing much. Yeah. So that he can play something like bishop f4, bishop d6, and kick the rook away. And then this pressure on f7 will be too much for black. Black has to worry about this knight also. Right now it's supported by the bishop, but if this bishop is forced to move away, oh, white is actually black is actually helping white by playing queen e5. So here white could play bishop f4 with a tempo. Black should have played this first. Okay, this move also works. By playing queen f6, black has stopped this bishop d6. But now on the other side of the board, a into b5, he black won't be able to play pawn into b5 because this rook is gone. Then the pawn is pinned, and if he captures with the bishop, then well, this knight will be gone as this bishop is overworked. Maybe this. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, bishop d6 is still not possible, right? I don't know why Om sacrificed this pawn over here. And in fact, queen into b2 check is coming up, and soon there will be a mate on h2. Yeah, so he has to be careful. So this uh, pawn push was a mistake. Totally overlooked that thing. So let's move back. Six more games. So we have Witness Shadow, that is Aditi playing against Kavya. Again, Kavya has loads of extra material. I wonder how Aditi manages to lose so much material. Simply Black has to exchange the pieces, and then with the extra material, Black should win. Let's move back. Okay, this game between Mir and Cute Dolphin looks interesting. Mir should win with this connected passers on the sixth rank. As we know, connected passers on the sixth rank cannot be stopped by a single rook when the defending king is cut off. But here there are rook and queen to assist these pawns. So that way, right now Mir is just 1 point ahead or 1 pawn ahead. But soon he will be getting or he should be getting more material because of this connected passers. Let's see what do we have. Anything interesting? Let's check this game. Sonia and Samiksha. Samiksha is low on time and she's still 1 pawn ahead. Okay, and the bishop is lost. That's what a time pressure can do to you. Let's see if Sonia can spot this blunder. Yeah, of course. And now Samiksha is in trouble. She has less material and even the clock is not cooperating with her. She's in time trouble. Now there is no coordination between the rooks. So Samiksha's problems are multiplying. Let's move back. Okay, let's check this game again. Aviva and Keshav. So Keshav helped White to remove his double pawns, and now White has this strong pawns in the middle of the board. That can be a wrong move because by pushing the pawn, yeah, this square is available for knight, and as you can see, knight is very strong on this square. Did Aviva blunder a piece? It looks that way, right? Let's move back. What did he capture on d4? Okay, let's move back. Let's see if we can. Oh, the pawn. Ouch. She simply may played this knight d4. That's strange. It should be a mouse sleep or something, or maybe a blind spot. You can never know. Let's move back. Okay, blade strike and home. Wow, great, good defending, Tanish. Tanish has still managed to maintain the equality. and Ohm's time is in seconds, just 12 of it. Plus the increment of 5 seconds is there, so it's not a big issue. And considering Ohm's experience, Ohm should pull this off. That must be the pre-move. Pawn push won't work because of rook into h4, and then white's pawn structure will be horrible. This rook is hanging on a4, so Tanish has to be careful uh, not to allow Ohm any tactics on that hanging rook on a4. Yeah, so Ohm was waiting for this rook to move away. So because of this pawn and the pressure on f file, uh, this f7 pawn is fixed, cannot capture. Pawn into, and then this queen will be stuck inside. Of course, queen can come out from this. Yeah. So white is forcing black to play rook into f6, or else he will be losing a pawn over here on e6 square. Rook into rook, pawn into rook, and queen into pawn check. Then he should be also feeling the heat of the time trouble. Right now he has enough time. He shouldn't panic right away. But once that green timer turns into red, that's when the time goes below 1 minute. Then it will create all kind of problems for Tanish. Oh, should Om sacrifice two rooks for a queen and a pawn? I'm not sure because these two rooks are connected. Then it will be difficult for white to convert that into a win. So maybe Om is calculating the same. Yeah. So it's a good idea to do this. Check. Cool. King g8 forced. Cannot push the pawn ahead or the rook is gone. And Tanish blundered in the time trouble. Okay. Well played, Tanish. Apart from that last move, Om will be very happy to trade the queens when he's having one extra rook. What is he doing? Okay, just getting some extra seconds for him. Okay, let's move back. Is this the only game left? Yeah. So the second round is almost over, and after second round we have say around 11 players sharing the lead with 2 out of 2 points. Om should win the game, and he should join these remaining 10 players on 2 points. That was an intense game. Tanish was playing very nicely until that time trouble, and that is why you need to play regularly so that you experience that time trouble. And you can keep your calm and play nice moves, and you can find correct moves in the time trouble. So the third round will start soon. So stay tuned with us. We are in the third round of this the Sicilian Thematic Chess Tournament organized by Gurukul Chess Academy. 9 more games remaining. Let's go through the games. Okay, Shyam has lost that knight. Okay, this is between Vedant, Bharadwaj, and Om Gada. Vedant is white, and Vedant has extra point. So it's rook against two minors. So if white can use his minors well, then white should win. And if rook can use, oh, he's losing a piece straight away in a double attack. And even after rook into rook, queen into rook, this rook will stay supported with the queen. And I guess checkmate should follow, or maybe not. Maybe this check first. Queen f5 check. I'm sure Om must be calculating the quick checkmate patterns. Let's move back. Let's check this. The extinguisher and cute dolphin. Cute dolphin is Adya Patil, and extinguisher is Sai Sane. Adya is having a lot of extra material, and she is just piling up her material advantage. So she's down. Sai has one less bishop and few pawns also. Okay, this is between Sarah and Sonia. Sarah is having a rook up. Okay, Sarah is playing very nicely in this tournament. I guess this is her just second tournament. First tournament was the state selection. Okay, let's see. White should be careful about all the checks coming up by this knight. I mean, knight forks. So right now this checking square is covered. The other square is also under protection. Okay, f5. This knight is stuck over here. Knight cannot move. If king goes somewhere else, then knight into pawn is coming up. So king has to go somewhere here only. Going to c1 will be a blunder right away, because after bishop into knight, pawn into bishop, knight e2 check, and the rook falls in double attack. So that is why white should try to find the way to exchange these minor pieces as quickly as possible, so that she can start picking up all those pawns with this extra with her extra rook. Um, Adish and Devik is having one extra piece. Okay. Then here Aviva blade strike. Aviva is piece up again. Okay, great. This game we just saw. Let's check this game between Hercules, that is Omkar and Sean. Okay, Omkar is having one extra rook, and he's about to promote his pawn. So he should be getting a queen very soon. So it will be very tough, almost impossible for Sean to save this game. Let's move back. Right now we have two players sharing the lead with 100% score. That is 3 on 3. So Yash, Inferno, and Arjun. Then we have four players on joint second spot with 2.5 points out of possible three. Okay, so Vedant drew against Mihir, and Dakshil against Keshav. Okay. Oh, that looks terrible. Uh, I guess Sonia lost her knight for nothing. She must have blundered her knight. Yeah, knight g3 check and simply pawn into g3. Okay, and she resigned. Okay, let's go back. She must have realized her mistake. Is there any interesting game right now? No, here Hercules is going to win easily. Here again, Adya should win easily with her extra material. Two extra rooks she is having. Here again, Aviva should win with her extra bishop. But let's check this game. It's not a clear extra bishop. There are two pawns for the bishop, and as there are very few pieces left on the board, White will have to play this endgame carefully. Not black, not white. Black should play this endgame carefully, or else these pawns will get promoted in no time. Instead of this, in okay, the double attack was coming up, so that's why he had to play this. Okay, again this. Ouch! When I missed this, I was more focused on this g3 pawn. So here black should have played something like rook h3, and then this pawn will fall for sure. But it looks like Aviva blundered a bishop. Check first, of course, and then simply capture the pawn. If he captures with the rook, then maybe rook d7 and capture this extra pawn and maybe start pushing this passer. And after pawn into pawn, if captures with the rook, sorry, king, then the skewer is coming up. Yeah, correct. If he gives this check, he can give this check, king to e4 and rook into pawn. That way, black can recover his one of the last pawn, one of the lost pawn. Yeah, of course, king e4. But this check is recovering the pawn. Ouch! This was bad. White should have moved the king up. So in the end game, when you want to promote the pawns, your king must be active. Now in this position, it's very difficult for white to score a win, as black king can simply move towards the pawn, and as you can see, because of the rook, white king is cut off from the action. He won't be able to participate in the promotion of this pawn, and that way this game should end in a draw if black plays correctly. Simply move the king to g4 or at least g6. This is a queening square. Black must take control of that queening square. Maybe this and capture this pawn. Let's move back. Let's see if any other games are remaining. Okay, three more games, including the game we were seeing. Okay, the remaining two games will end in no time. So let's just focus on this game. It's a very interesting position, and this game should end in a draw. White can try and try to convert this game, this position into a Lucina, but that for that the king should be active. Again, giving this check was a bad idea. If black plays wrongly, then white will win the game with this extra pawn. Instead of giving the check and letting the king move towards the pawn, black should have moved his king towards the pawn, and he should have controlled the queening square. Mm-mm. Slowly, slowly, the position is turning into a Lucina position. I hope you know what is Lucina position. There are two basic rook and pawn endgame positions. One is Lucina, and the other one is Philidor. King up, King e5, and use the pawn as a shelter, and slowly, slowly keep moving the king up. And also, white can try and play something like rook f7, and keep the rook on the f file. That way, the king is cut off from the action. But rook pawn endings are difficult endings to play. This should win. So rook d5, rook d5, king d5, king f6, king d6, and white will maintain the opposition. And with the help of the opposition, he can promote the pawn safely. So if black wants to fight, yeah, rook should go back, and so that black can try giving all kinds of check from the backside. Again, it was a mistake getting the king down. Black also made a mistake. King should move towards the winning square. Still, king f6 or king f7. Again, this was a mistake. King e5 was better, activating the king and at the same time attacking the rook. Check, cut the king away. But maybe after this check, black can play rook f6, and after the rook exchange, I guess it will be again a draw because king will come to stop the pawn just in time. Rook e1. White king is not in front of the pawn, so that way it will be difficult for white to promote the pawn. White king should be in front of the pawn. Ouch, that's a blunder. Check, and white gets the rook for free, and white missed it. You can say this is something, some comedy of errors going on. Is this the only game going on of the third round? Yes, this is the only game. That's why so many people are watching this game. And the game ends in a draw after king e6. King e6 and the pawn falls. Even if after the check, king into pawn. Yes, and we are moving towards a draw. White missed an easy win. White should have simply captured the rook and agreed for a draw. There is no point in playing this game ahead. Maybe Tanish is all frustrated because he missed a simple win, and that's why, out of desperation, he's trying to win this game, which is a draw, unless black blunders. So finally, the rooks will get exchanged. If white won't capture, then he's losing the rook. Yes, the game ends in a draw. Okay, let's go back in the lobby. So we have three players leading the tally with 3 points each. Fourth round will start just in some time. We are in the second half of this thematic chess tournament. The fourth round is going on. We have still 6 games remaining. Omgada is leading the tally with 4 points out of 6, out of 4, sorry, and he has won against the top seeded Arjun Singh. Let's go through the games. This is Dakshil against Yash. Yash played badly in the middle game. I was watching this game a little while back, and Yash was having a good position. He could have stopped White from castling, but he allowed White to castle. He didn't play well, and I guess he must have lost his a7 pawn with to this bishop. Yeah, you can see this move over here. So a7 pawn is gone, and that's why the Dakshil is pawn up. Let's go back. Then we have Sriram playing against Vedant. Vedant is also a rated player. Here, white should play rook into rook, queen into rook, and then queen into c6. And he missed a chance. When your pieces are active, you should make full use of your active pieces and try to grab as much material as you can. So Sriram simply missed that chance. Mm, King f4. King f4 was a better move because after king f4, of course, h4 is a blunder because king g4 and the pawn is lost. And after king f4, king cannot come to, yeah, king f4 is fine. And h4, and black is in a zugzwang. Yeah, and now white should win this game. So zugzwang is a position where right now nothing is happening, but any move and it will end up in a losing for it will end up in a lost position for the player who has the move. But it looks like Vedant had sacrificed a pawn, and now he will hold this position well. So he will just keep repeating the king. Black offers a draw, and white declines the draw. Okay. If white tries forcing a win, so in this position, then white may lose because king can come ahead. So it should be a white. Black must maintain the opposition. Now here he cannot maintain the opposition because there is a check. So he should play something like, yeah, this is also fine. If he goes over here, king will come back, and again the opposition is maintained. Opposition is when both the kings are standing on a distance of odd squares from each other. So this is one. So in such position, a player who is not having the move is said to have the opposition. And white is going to lose this game, that's for sure, because the king will enter and he will start picking up the pawns one by one. Or maybe you should start capturing this pawn first, and Vedant wins. Yeah, and then one, two, three, four. In four moves, black is getting the. Why is he wasting the move? Yeah, simply queen to c6. Mm-mm. Okay, this will also work. Yeah, good move. Queen c6 was a simple move. And king is flushed out of this shelter. Great. Queen into pawn, of course. Queen to b5. b4, sorry. Queen, sorry. Queen b8 and then queen b7. Check. Queen c8. Why these guys are not calculating when they have enough time left on the clock? King d7, and now black will have to just keep giving all kind of checks. That's a blunder again. Simple queen c8, yeah, of course. Black gets a second queen quickly. White is late. And queen c7, and everything is stopped. Let's go back. In a search to find a forced win from a drawish game, Sriram is losing this game. Okay, this is very interesting. Dakshil has still maintained his extra pawn. Position is also of same bishop, same color bishop position. If it's opposite color bishop, then Yash can think about drawing the game, but it's not the case. Maybe queen e3. Queen e3 was better. So after queen e3, the bishop is attacked, and if black moves the queen away, then f5 and the check is coming up. Even is getting this pawn over here for free. Oh, he straight away blunders a piece. Yes, that's bad. Poor Yash. And he resigned. The fifth round will start in some time. Om is still leading, and there are now three players sharing the second spot with 3.5 points. We are in the penultimate round of this thematic chess tournament organized by Gurukul. So 13 games are still going on. Rushil and Garvil have won their fifth round and they are right on 4 points each. Yeah, let's check the games. Okay, let's see what do we have over here again in Blade Strike. That is Tanish. So Keshav is playing white against Tanish. Keshav is pawn up, but Keshav's development is pretty bad. Pieces are not doing much. On the other hand, Black has to be careful about this bishop. This bishop may get trapped. I mean, if the rook moves away somewhere, then g3 and the bishop has nowhere to go. Right now, it won't get trapped because of rook into pawn. Rook goes back. Here, instead of playing this, white should have played this first, and white missed a chance. You can still play this. Bishop d4 is a very nice move. Bishop d4 should win on the spot because knight is pinned, knight is hanging, rook is hanging. So to save the knight, the only move is this. But it looks like white is focusing on this h2 bishop rather than this f6 knight. Black should lose this game because this bishop is gone, and the other black pieces are not placed correctly. Okay, then what else do we have? Let's check this game between Arjun Singh and Cute Dolphin. Okay, Arjun Singh is 7 points up. He has two extra minor pieces. He will recover one piece over here. Oh, it's Black's turn. Ouch, he won't recover. I thought he is going to simply capture the pieces and recover the bishop. But there's a check. So now he will simply exchange the rooks. Rook into rook, and then bishop into pawn. Oh, great. This also works. He can't capture, or else he will drop the exchange over here. Even there is one more trick: bishop, rook into rook, and rook a1 is not a checkmate because this rook can interfere. But even after it's a mate, suppose it's a mate, white can always play this check, give this check in between, kick the king away, and then he can continue with capturing the rook. So with that extra check, there won't be any checkmate happening. There won't be any mating net around white's king. Such in between move is called Zwischenzug. So I guess there are two German words in chess. One is Zugzwang and the other one is Zwischenzug. So this game is between Ahan Sareen and Samiksha. Okay, simple. Rook a8 and the bishop is gone in this absolute pin. Let's see. Okay, Samiksha missed that altogether. She can still play this, but now the bishop will move away. Okay, let's move back. Now she's trying to give the double attack. She should win with her extra rook. Then we have Inferno playing against Adish. Adish is pawn up. But compared to black, white's pieces are more active. Especially these two black rooks, they are not doing anything. White is calculating this bishop into rook. Yeah, this is nice. Because now there follows bishop into pawn check. After this bishop into pawn check, king will move away. And now white has to be bit careful because this bishop is pinned now. Let's move back in the lobby. Seven more games. Okay, Om has won against Mihir. Okay, Om is 5 on 5. And most likely Om should win the tournament. I guess Om has played against almost all the strong players. Not against Yash, right? So maybe you'll have to play against Yash. Provided Yash wins this game. Or maybe he will be playing against Dakshil. Dakshil is on 3.5. If Dakshil wins this game, then Dakshil will be on 4.5. So Om's last round will be either against Dakshil or against Vedant. Okay, they are playing with each other. Okay, so Om will be definitely playing against one winner of this game between Dakshil and Vedant Shah. Okay, so Leron is back finally. Okay, let's see what we have over here. Mind Booster. Mind Booster is Advait Kadam, and he's playing against Omkar Shelar. And there is this mate happening, check and mate next move. So here white must play this, but then there follows pawn push, and pawn promotion. So it looks like Advait has lost his queen in some tactics or something, and he missed the trick. It's a still checkmate happening on g2, but this was forced mate into. Let's move back. We are again in this game. Keshav Joshi against Tanish. Tanish is pawn up. He gave up a free pawn. Okay, the knight was under attack. Okay, so that way Tanish got one more pawn. As you can see in the endgame, your king must be active. Black's king is active, so that's why black can capture so many pawns. And even this last pawn should fall pretty soon. Black has to take care of all the knight forks. Again, the same thing, attack the knight, force the knight to move away, and kill the pawn. In the previous game, Keshav blundered a queen, so it looks like he's still in that shock. Let's check this game between Vedant and Dakshil. This game will decide the challenger for Om in the last round. Okay, Vedant has a nice position. Yeah, that was forced. Uh, Though Vedant has one extra pawn, as you can see, all his pawns are scattered. There are four pawn islands. Also, there are all these pawns are isolated pawns, and here on the D file there is double isolated pawn. Oh, so check, and he's about to lose the rook. So maybe he should play something like this. Ouch! And he missed. Of course, Dakshil is not going to miss such a simple tactics. And now Vedant should resign. He should have captured this pawn. I don't know why didn't he capture this pawn. And then after that, maybe he can put the rook behind the passer, right? And it looks like it's home against Dakshil in the last round. Let's move back. Is that the only game left? No, still four games. Liron and Sean. Okay, Liron should win this game. Then let's check addition in Inferno. Oh, great. Oh, bishop is there. I thought black is forced to put the queen in the middle. But yeah, bishop can come back. Cool. This pawn is pinned. Sorry. Now he's definitely going to win. Check. And then rook f3, h3, and it's unstoppable checkmate. So by using this rook lift, white can force a quick checkmate. Or maybe he will just resign before that. Let's see if he plays or not. Yeah, rook f3, f3 and then rook s3 is unstoppable. Even if he captures the bishop, rook s3 is mate. Rook s6, queen s6 was also mate over here. Hard luck, Adish. Okay, only two games. Yeah, as you can see, Om is on 5 and Dakshil is on 4.5. Only one game remaining now. So let's see if Tanish can convert his extra points into a win. Okay, simply move the rook, maybe to f6 or not. F6, f5 looks better. White needs to regroup his pieces. There is no coordination between black's pieces. King is out of the board, out of the action, and the knight is hanging, rook is hanging, pawns doesn't look that good. Even white's pieces are not very active. This knight has nowhere to go. Yeah, the skewer is coming up. Maybe black can play something like king. Okay, this is also nice. Or maybe king d5, d6, d7 would do. Move the knight back. Right now the rook is supported, so black doesn't have to worry about this skewer. Again, keeping the pieces without support is risky. That's why I was suggesting knight d5 instead of knight c4. King. Okay. Rook into rook is a blunder because then the single pawn will join the team, and there will be three connected passed pawns. Knight d6 supporting the pawn. Okay, this will also do. And that's fine. Because slowly white is regrouping his pieces, so black has to do something to disturb the coordination between black pieces. So this h5 pawn move is a nice move. Now black is pushing the pawn ahead to promote it, and then white will have to move his pieces on the other side of the board to stop this pawn. Rook b8, and then he can try something like this, rook h8. Yeah, black can try playing rook h6, rook behind the passer, and it's a mistake, I guess, pushing the pawn ahead because after rook h8, there is no way he can save the pawn. Even rook f5 is not happening. Okay, he can buy some time to attack the knight, and then he can put the rook in front of the passer. Putting the rook in front of the passer is not good because the rook which is in front of the pass pawn gets passive as the pass pawn is pushed ahead. That is why whether it's your pass pawn or opponent's pass pawn, try to keep the rook behind the passer. White can try this, sorry, black can try this, pushing the pawn ahead. Okay, king will move to e3, attacking the rook. Forced, rook h2. See again, all the three black pieces are on different part of the chessboard, and that is why black is finding it difficult to win this game quickly. That's why it's taking so much time. But once all these black forces are united, then it's an easy win. Check, and then knight d6, saving the pawn. Okay, now there are these two pawns were connected, but now these are two isolated pawns. It doesn't look very bright for black now. Forced maybe this, but then he will play king to f2, and rook g1 move is wasted. No, okay, so maybe king to f2 and h2, and then there follows rook h7. This pawn should fall, and then all black's hopes will be based on that e pawn. Rook h7 is forced, or else white is going to lose this knight. Yeah, of course. Up. Maybe this check. No, this check won't work because he won't capture with the king. He will. Okay, this check looks nice because if he captures with the king, then rook into knight, and if he captures with the knight, then pawn promotion. And black misses that trick. Check again. Let's see if black can find it this tactic on the second attempt. Is that the only game left? Yeah. So everyone is waiting to see what's the result of this game so that the last round can start. What? He blundered a knight? There was no need to give that knight for free. Still pawn push is working. Now it's gone. Simple rook into pawn and the game ends in a draw. I guess this is the second game Tanish goofed up the end game. What is he playing? Now he will definitely lose. The last two moves he blundered two pieces. Forced, yeah, of course. Rook 8, Rook H8, sorry. And then Rook behind the passer and just capture the pawn for free. If the king goes up, this also works. Then king up and the pawn is gone. Yeah, king cannot run away out of the board. Okay, let's see. Let's see if Tanish remembers one rook checkmate. Yeah, so far so good. One rook checkmate is a basic checkmate, and when we are talking about basic checkmate, that is minimum winning material. Then we need to force the king on one of the corner lines. Black king will be checkmated only on one of these four corner lines. So white has to force the king on the corner line, and then only the checkmate may happen. King c3. If king goes inside, simple rook b4. Yeah, rook b4 is forced. Now king is on the corner line. Now white should just keep pushing the king on this third line. Once both the kings are in front of each other, the game should end in a checkmate after this. But there is a little trick. Yeah, he has to move the rook first. Otherwise, both the kings will just keep on moving here and there. Now it's much more simple. King c7, king in the corner and mate. Great, well done, Keshav. Yeah, sorry, it's Keshav, not Tanish. So the last round is getting started in just few seconds. Welcome back. We are in the last round of this Sicilian Defense Thematic Chess Tournament organized by Gurukul Chess Academy. So This top board game must be very interesting and very exciting because this game will decide the winner of today's tournament. Om is leading the tally with 5 out of 5, and Dakshil is just half a point behind him on 4.5. So if Dakshil wins this game, Dakshil will become the first prize holder with 5.5 points. It looks like Dakshil has made a mistake and dropped a pawn. You can capture this pawn on b7, but I guess he's worried about this queen h5 check. Because queen h5 check, king goes to f1 and then queen into f4 check again. Whether he captures the pawn or not, the queen f4 check is surely coming up. Sorry, king g1 forced. There is no point in going out, or else black will continue with bishop f6 and bishop h4, and soon it will be a checkmate. It's a nice position Dakshil is having, yeah, of course. Will this work? Knight into c2 and then bishop d4 check. This works, right? Oh, maybe not. Because after, yeah, it should work. It should work. I was thinking about knight into c2, e3. Queen is under attack, but still, instead of saving the queen, black can still play bishop d4. Maybe the actually is calculating the same whether to play knight into c2 or knight b3. Let's go back, check other games also. Okay, Rushil has won his round, so he has won the game against Yash. Wow, great. Oh, just missed a simple knight fork. Poor Yash. He was clearly winning. Okay, let's check this game between Garvil and Arjun. Arjun is bad. Arjun is white. Sorry, Garvil is black. As usual, Arjun has lots of extra material, so he should easily win this game. His pawn is going nowhere. Even if he pushes the pawn ahead, rook d8, rook d1. Sorry, still he can play rook d1. He can try playing rook c1 though. Rook c1 also looks nice. Let's move back. Okay, Adish white, Sakshi black. Adish is 4 points ahead. Okay, let's see what is happening. By the way, Adish is knight up and a pawn up, but rook, black rooks are connected. Queen is active. Even the bishop is active now. Uh, Maybe to capture this pawn, the bishop was moved to a7. Now the bishop is hanging on that square, and bishop is not participating in the action. So good move. White wants to exchange the queens, so that way all the threats will be gone. Let's play this. Be captured. Okay. Now white should win. Sakshi shouldn't have captured this queen. Okay, let's move back. Here Vrinda playing against Sara. Material is equal. Great. Both the girls are playing nicely. Yeah, there is a discord attack on queen. White can try. Sorry, black can try queen c6. Okay, this is also fine. But when white's all pieces are lined up against the king, it's not a good idea to move the queen out of the board or in the corner. This looks nice. This is also fine. But there is a problem. You can play f6 simply, and even the queen is still connected to this pawn. Bishop is there. That's why I was thinking about playing queen g5 so that there is a double attack on the bishop and the pawn. Let's move back. So what do we have here? Sonia playing with white pieces against Mind Booster. That's Advait. Material is equal. Advait position looks nice. Even Sonia's position is nice. But this rook looks a bit odd. Okay. So here the correct move is knight g4, attacking the bishop and at the same time attacking the pawn. So here black should not capture the pawn. Black should play knight g4. Knight g4 is the, I guess, only correct move in this position. Let's see if Advait finds knight g4 or not. Even if your pieces are driven away, even if you are on the back foot, what's that? That's simple blunder. What is Advait doing? Let's go back. Arjun has won his fifth round against Garville. Okay, in Cute Dolphin against Sam Shenvi. So that's Adya against Samiksha. Samiksha is pawn up, and she has launched a strong attack against White's king. So many black pieces are surrounding White's king, and the remaining pieces will also join. So Adya has to be careful over here. Right now, Samiksha is losing this pawn, but Adya is not sure whether to capture that pawn or not, because then that way this rook will be activated. Let's move back. Let's see what's happening on the top boards. Okay, Om is still a pawn up. How come this position arises on the board? I guess uh, Dakshil, sorry, Dakshil didn't try this knight c2 or knight b3. So maybe he played rook b8, saving the bishop, saving the rook, and that way White got enough time to cover the king. Is he going to lose the queen? No, right? This knight shouldn't be over here. Otherwise, this would be end for White. Oh, but why? Just to capture this thing? That's it. After all these exchanges, White is slightly better because almost all White's pieces are active, and these two black pieces they are still sitting on the starting line. Black is getting this pawn for sure. If White wants to save this pawn, White will have to play very passively, something like this. Let's see what White plays. Maybe White is thinking about whether to save that pawn or not. But if that pawn is not saved, then Rook will enter on the 7th rank, and already both the rooks are not connected. Yeah, it's nice trap. Sorry. Uh, Black cannot play rook into b2 because then exchange is gone, and if he plays bishop into b2, then rook b1 and the bishop is pinned. So that's a good try, good trap. But still, the knight is sitting on the sleeping square over here. Forced. There was no need to do that. He should have played bishop g5 and then f4, and the bishop is trapped on d4. How can Om miss that? Okay, after bishop g5, maybe he will play h6, and he won't. What happened? Oh, they agreed for a draw. That's strange. O must be happy. He got half a point and he's clear leader. O, O wouldn't mind that. But Dakshil should have tried for the win. Okay. Uh, okay, Vrinda is winning. Oh, yeah, great. Yeah, Vrinda will win this game. Hard luck for Sarah. So the top lot is almost done. Almost all the top games are finished. What do we have over here in Dolphin and Samiksha? Okay, the pawn is gone. The C2 pawn is gone. It's forced. What is she thinking? And Adya is in time trouble as usual. Bishop into bishop, pawn into rook into pawn. And Samiksha is getting one extra pawn. Why she's taking so much time to capture that free pawn? Of course, when there is an obvious move, you should not waste time unnecessarily. Rook b c6, rook b c6 was better. Okay, captured with the knight, pin the knight. Okay, let's move back. Is there any game left? Okay, Sonia and Mind Booster. Okay, so now Sonia has 5 extra points, or we can say she is rook up. But at the same time, Sonia is struggling with time pressure. Only 32 seconds remaining. So here Black should play knight d4, blocking this connection, and then he can pick up the pawn. But in the process, he's losing this pawn for sure. But when you are rook down, you can't defend everything. This move is not so nice because it's not achieving anything. First of all, there is no checkmate happening because queen can never come to g5. Knight is guarding g5. Oh, okay. Ouch. I guess the only safe move is no, no move is safe. And black is winning. Yeah, check and the queen is lost. And Sonia missed that in time trouble. Well done, Advait. And in that shock, Sonia, I think, stopped playing. Okay, hard luck, Sonia. Just one game is going on. That's between Adya and Samiksha. Adya Samiksha got 2 pawns now. And Samiksha should win this game easily without any goof ups. White Black must activate the king. King c5 is forced. Everything is fine in this because there are two connected passed pawns, and king cannot stop both the pawns. That's for sure. And to make the matter worse, Adya is on time trouble. King e4, king e5, sorry, and then keep pushing the pawns. Samisha can just let your pawns cook in the sun in the middle of the board, and she can go on either way to capture both the pawns for free. Because two connected passers cannot be stopped by a single king, that's for sure. Because white cannot capture this pawn, and even this pawn is not supported. White cannot capture that pawn either. Otherwise, this front pawn will march ahead and become a queen in no time. At 6, okay, king up. Adya is just, I guess, she's just trying her luck, and she's whether by mistake or in over excitement, maybe whether Samiksha stalemates her or not. She missed a chance. She should have moved his king over here. Forced. If king moves to d3, it's a stalemate. So the only winning way is to sacrifice this pawn. e2, king is forced to move out, and then king c2, and the d pawn marches on. And Samiksha has no idea. If they come back again, I guess they should end in a draw. Okay. Okay. This move also works great. King f8. Sorry, king c1, and the pawn promotes. Yes. Black should win without any hassle. If black allows white to capture the pawn, then this may end in a draw now. You are not sure because it's a rook file pawn, and black won't be able to stop that pawn. Check. King g1, king g8, sorry. Uh, this is why endgame knowledge is so important. Whether you are good with opening or whether you are good with tactics in the middle game, everything stops or everything is wasted if your endgame is pretty bad. So I guess Samiksha will just keep giving all kinds of checks, and the game will end in a draw now. So it's a theory that if the pawn is on the rook file, let's ignore both the pawns. If the pawn is on the rook file, it's difficult for black right now in this position to stop this pawn from queening. Okay, okay. Now what black can try? Queen, check, exchange the queen, and then keep pushing the pawn ahead. Make a new queen, and she's not promoting the pawn. Okay, it's a long game. Okay, so Samiksha can play without any hurry now because Abdya has just a king. Even if Samiksha's time runs out, the game will end in a draw because to win on time you must have some winning material, and White has no winning material left. Just few more moves and the game will be over. In this tournament, we have kept three main prizes, and along with them, we have also kept age category prizes for under 8, under 11, and under 14 kids. This tournament is especially for the students of Gurukul Chess Academy. The checkmate pattern is created where king is on the corner line, queen is on the second line, and king is on the third line. So black just have to align the kings, and then it will be a checkmate in no time. I hope you enjoyed all the games played today. We had 6 rounds, okay, and 43 players participated in the event, and the theme was Sicilian defense. So stay tuned, and we'll be getting you more and more such exciting tournaments. Thank you, everyone.